friends. Hey, I'm here in the camper. Just want to give you some tips on winter camping. Now, I'm not no expert at winter camping and hike into the snow and sleep overnight in a tent. That's awesome, the people that do that, but I'm more of a van camper, staying warm in a van. Yeah, I'm not a full-timer. I'm a weekender. Maybe somewhere down the road I like to go full-time. But I do enjoy winter camping. And when I do, it's usually in Tennessee or the surrounding areas in the South. And in the South, winter camping, you know, it's very rare that it gets down into the low teens. A norm for winter in Tennessee is 30 to 40 degrees. And then when January hits, it might get down to 20 degrees. It's very rare, but it does. And it does snow, but not a lot. Enough to make it really fun, though, when you're at a state park or boondocking. You know, in here, this is a camper RV. It's a van, but it's got all the accommodations of an RV. So it's got plumbing, it's got propane, and propane with heat. It's got a bathroom, a shower, a sink, pretty much everything an RV has. And in the wintertime, you know, I have to winterize this van because it does have plumbing. So it's just a matter of getting the RV pink winter antifreeze and putting that in the camper, because I do not want my pipes to freeze. That would be a bad thing. So in saying that, I can camp like anybody else, but you gotta change things up a little differently. So I carry my own separate water, which I use a jug for. And then as far as my bathroom, I still use my bathroom, but it's all bagged. So basically the bowl has got a bag in it, sometimes sawdust, and then I get rid of it. So that's how I use the bathroom. And as far as showering, it's baby wipes. And I may go a couple of days without it, but, you know, camping's roughing it, right? Of course, I really don't call this roughing it. With camping, it's not rocket science. You know, it's the old thing, wear layers. You know, 90% of your heat goes through your head. So wear a hat. And in this van, there's a lot of windows. Mostly I'm living towards this section, so at night I close everything up behind the camera. So in here I have the old famous Reflectix. So I use that for insulation. And then as far as my bed, it's a sleeping bag. But it's a sleeping bag for 30 Celsius. But as far as a sleeping bag, I used a high hiker. It's just a mid-range sleeping bag. And I just set it on top of another blanket. It is a queen. It comes with 2 little pillows. Of course, this is my pillow. And it also turns into a single. Makes 2 singles as well. But I wanted something big for this area. This area basically does fit a king-size bed, so that's maybe why it looks maybe a little smaller, but it is a queen blanket or a sleeping bag. And it is microfiber. It says it's rainproof, but I'm not going to be in the rain with it. And with the microfiber, it helps with thermal, with heating, and as far as it getting wet, it won't get damp. Now you can get top of the line sleeping bags, but again, in this area, I live in Nashville, so I wanted something that would keep me cool and warm at the same time in maybe 30-degree weather. And it's rated 30 to 20 degrees. But I use this not only in the winter, but in the summer as well. In the summer, I would just unzip it and use it as the throw-over blanket. But in the winter, it's got the thermal, and of course, the summer, it's nice and cool. So it serves both ways. Guess why they call it a 4 seasons. And in this van, speaking of heat, I use a buddy heater. I run it for a couple hours before night, and then I turn it off, just because, you know, it's dangerous. And when you use it in a van, RV, whatever you're using it, you gotta ventilate. So you gotta crack your windows at least an inch, or put a vent. And then on every RV, make sure you have smoke detector and carbon dioxide detector in your van, because I mean, it could kill you if you don't. The heater setup in this van, I'll show you some of the features. So in this van, we have a built-in furnace, which is great, and it heats the van really nice. It's off of propane. For this model, it is a little noisy. It is a battery hog, and I don't want to wake up with a dead battery. So it's nice to use it to heat up the van and then just turn it off. And my thermostat is right there, so I can adjust my heat the way I want it. But again, that is a gas hog on your battery. I can feel the heat coming on. The Van Halen tune. Name that tune. There we got a nice glow and some nice heat. Again, it's on the low setting. And when this is on either low or high, I mean, it doesn't take long at all for the van to get warm. As far as the front, notice there's an awful lot of glass. So two things when camping. One, I like to face, if possible, I like to face the camper towards the sun, so it heats up the front first. With all the windows, that's the coldest part of the van. So if all possible, when I'm camping, I try to face the nose towards the sun, so it heats that first. And second, I use rug. Having rug insulates the floor, because underneath this is cold. And as far as shoes, I'll either wear my throw-ons or I'll have actual slippers that I use. And then I keep my boots up front. And then as well, to keep it warm in here, I throw a blanket over the front. And I'll show you that right now. And there you have it. A blanket up front, just to keep it from getting any colder back here, away from the glass. There's not a whole lot I can do about the three windows. I could put reflectix up there, but with heat rising, I really don't think it's going to make much of a difference. But when I have everything closed up with reflectix, I got them in the front too, there, on those doors. And of course, back here, throughout the cabin, I really like to have a place where I can see out. So that's another reason why I like the light. And it doesn't give me such a claustrophobic feel. And the same thing with the window here. I really don't put anything as far as reflectix and that. It's just a small window. And it just gives me access of being able to look out. Now, depending where I'm camping, another thing I like to use, if I get this out without tearing everything out, is a heater. And what I like about this heater is it just takes the dampness out. Again, I wouldn't recommend this in below zero temperatures, but it works great when it's just 30 degrees out. And I'm trying to remember, I think I bought this at Home Depot. But what I liked about it is it didn't draw a lot of watts. You can literally run this thing with your generator on. Generator right here. My own generator. I just run that, and it's able to power this. And of course, a few other things like the microwave. But unless if you're at a campground, you can just plug in the Sure Power. You can use this, or again, you can go back to running your furnace. Right here. Not the buddy heater, but your furnace. Because you're plugged into Sure Power, so your battery isn't going to die. But with me, I like to boondock. So with boondocking, you got to think a little differently because you're not plugged into Shore Power. So that's where the buddy heater comes in handy, or your generator if you need to run this. And if all fails, you have no heat, you can always go to number 1. Start your van. One thing that's nice about the winter is my fridge. I really don't have to use it. It stays cold even if it gets warm in here. It keeps everything cold like it should. Now granted, it's not ice cold, but close enough for the winters here in Tennessee. And as far as the RV goes, the plumbing, it's winterized. So nothing's coming through here because we don't want pipes to freeze. So I'll take this with me, with this little tapper. And that's what I have for water. And I usually use a little container here. Let's see if I have it. There you go. And I just have a container, and I just put my water, excess water in here. And I have a bigger tub that fits this whole sink that I'll use, but this is sufficient. So I hope you liked the video. I hope it gave you some ideas as far as camping. It's how I camp, so I'm sharing that with you. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for future videos. Meanwhile, y'all take care. Catch you later. And with the sleeping bag, if it all fails and I'm still cold, I can always use an extra blanket, which comes in really handy.